This is Kim Speedy from 10 Sigma. Welcome to episode 53 of Transition Tuesday. Today I'm going to talk about invisible disabilities. This is a topic suggestion that came from one of our viewers, Cheryl in Illinois. So thank you, Cheryl, for sending us this topic suggestion. Right now I'm going to switch over to a short slide presentation to share some information.
Invisible disabilities and how we can help these students reach their post-secondary goals. Let's first start with the definition. Invisible disabilities are disabilities that are not immediately apparent. It is an umbrella term that captures a whole spectrum of hidden disabilities or challenges that are primarily neurological in nature. Examples include mental illness, including depression, medical issues such as chronic pain or asthma. According to Disabled World, approximately 10% of the U.S. population has an invisible disability. Another sub-area of invisible disabilities that I would like to mention is what I call intermittent disability, which may or may not cause a permanent disability. An example of this is when I was teaching younger students, ages 5 and 6, who had what I believed seasonal hearing loss caused by their allergies. They were all stuffed up, so they couldn't hear anything, and it also lessened their attention span, which was extremely short with the best of conditions, because they didn't feel good and were tired and they lacked energy. Therefore, their learning ability depended on how long their allergy lasted. We all know that if a person misses information, especially during a critical period of development, it will impair their learning, or at the very least put them behind. The point in talking about this is there are students who have invisible disabilities who receive accommodations through special education, or Section 504. There are also students who have an invisible disability but do not receive accommodations through special education or Section 504 because they don't qualify. And there are students who have not been labeled with a disability, therefore do not receive accommodations, but clearly struggle in the school system. Sometimes these students fall within the at-risk category, but not always. So the question really is, how do we help all students reach their post-secondary goals and lead productive adult lives? I'm going to offer 2 programming solutions that, when implemented correctly, would benefit all students. This means students with visible and invisible disabilities, as well as general education students, including students who have fallen between the cracks. First, all educators should be teaching using the Universal Design for Learning framework and only incorporate specific accommodations for students who need it. And second, districts should provide a transition curriculum for all students. First, let me explain what UDL is and its benefits. Universal Design for Learning is an educational framework based on research in the learning sciences, including cognitive neuroscience, that guides the development of flexible learning environments that can accommodate individual learning differences. So instead of designing instruction for the average student, instruction is designed for a broad range of students, meeting many students' IEP and Section 504 accommodations, and accommodating those students that have fallen between the cracks or are at risk. Ultimately, the universal design of instruction minimizes the needs for individual accommodations. It does not lower academic standards, and it incorporates values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now I'm going to explain why there is a need for district transition programs and what should be incorporated in them. Transition curriculums have primarily been designed for students who receive special education services. Again, many students with invisible disabilities do not receive special education services, so they are not receiving much in the area of transition because it's not provided in general education. As for the average general education students, Many of them are prepared for college, but have little knowledge of all the things that would be helpful to know about in adult life. When implementing a district transition program, it should include exploring. Students should explore different options in the areas of education and training, employment, and independent living. And they also need to look at their interests and areas of strength and need. Refining. Once students have explored many options, they need to narrow down their future options based on what they learned about themselves, their responsibilities, and their opportunities. Owning. Students write their own post-secondary goals based on what they've learned. They also assess their transition readiness, creating a list of important tasks they need to complete and a timeline. And then finally, achieving. Students complete their timeline and learn important skills to prepare them to achieve their post-secondary goals. During this whole process, the students are continuously working on their specific needed soft skills, such as problem solving, organization, and teamwork. Some things a school district would need in order to implement both of these programs would be to have policies and procedures that ensure access to facilities, printed materials, computers, and electronic resources for people with disabilities. Include pictures of people with disabilities in publications and websites. Post high contrast, large print, directional signs throughout school buildings. Train all staff on ULD. And implement a transition curriculum for all students that includes exploring, refining, owning, and achieving the students' post-secondary goals. Some things that teachers would need to do in order to implement both of these programs would be to arrange seating so that everyone has a clear line of sight. Use large, bold fonts with high contrast on uncluttered overhead displays, and speaking all content aloud. Provide multiple ways to gain and demonstrate knowledge using the students' multiple senses. Provide scaffolding tools such as an outline and rubrics. Teach all students how to advocate for themselves. Provide materials in accessible formats and options for engagement. Provide corrective opportunities. Test in the same manner in which the material was taught, providing multiple means for students to express what they know. Minimize time constraints as appropriate. Know how to arrange for specific accommodations, and teach the district transition curriculum, modifying it as needed. You might be saying, this all sounds great, but I'm just one teacher that doesn't make decisions for the whole district. That may be true, but you are able to incorporate the Universal Design for Learning framework and transition activities into your classroom. You can share resources and materials with other educators, including administrators. And most importantly, you can advocate for what is best for students. For today's bonus, I'll be sending you links to understand the Universal Design of Learning and transition curriculum materials that can be used with students in special ed and general ed.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope you use this information to help all students achieve their post-secondary goals. Be sure to check your email for the bonus we just sent over. If this is the first time you've ever seen an episode of Transition Tuesday, click the link below to receive the bonus. Be sure to like and share the video and leave a comment or suggestion for a future episode of Transition Tuesday. Have a great week. See you next Tuesday.